what's going on? I'm back finishing up the solunar theory with you. Now you may remember from last time we talked about the moon phases, in which there were 4. Remember, you've got the new moon, the first quarter moon, the full moon, and the third quarter moon. And this all results in what is known as a lunar cycle or a lunar month. Now this time we're going to get into what these effects have on fishing. And I'm not going to get too scientific with it because I feel the more scientific you get, the broader it becomes. And I want to keep this pretty narrow, pretty bland, just to give you an idea. Because remember, this is a theory. This is something that's going to give you some information for you to then go on. This isn't scientific fact. Or this solunar, again, it's a theory. So this is all theoretical, and this is all based on what fishermen perceive and have seen over time. So do keep that in mind as we are speaking about this. You may notice something completely opposite what I'm saying, or you may find that exactly what I'm saying is what you're seeing and what you can relate to. So just to go over a brief overview of the science portion, again, the solunar theory is you've got the lunar cycle, which again is 29.5 days from new moon to new moon, which remember, new moon is the darkest moon and full moon is the brightest moon. And you also have another cycle, which is the lunar day. And a lunar day is about 24.8 hours, or that amounts to about 24 hours and 50 minutes. Now, how you get a lunar day is when you cross the Meridian Line twice. So what the Meridian Line is, you've all, I'm sure, heard of the equator. So I know this is the full moon here, but we're just going to pretend that this is the Earth. So your equator, runs right across the Earth. And what the Meridian Line is, it's something perpendicular. So it's up and down. So if this is your equator, your meridian line is running right like that. So it makes a right angle, okay? So you can imagine if you have what is known as moon up, which is when the moon is overhead. So say you're on this portion of the Earth where it's night, you have the moon is overhead, you've got this nice big full moon that's overhead, it's right above you at this meridian line. Now, 12.5 or approximately 12.5 hours later, it's going to be what is known as underfoot. And that's going to be literally, if you're standing here on the opposite side of the Earth, it's underfoot. And that's at that other point of the meridian line. So that's one crossing. And then as it comes up again to moon overhead, that's the second crossing. And that makes a full lunar day. Now, when you take into account the lunar cycle or the lunar month and the lunar day, you have these two cycles that play very important parts. So it's these combined forces that give rise to many environmental factors, such as, an example, geomagnetic fields and tides. And it's these environmental changes that animals will perceive the most. So this has an effect on their behavior. This has an effect on their physiology. This has an effect on many things in animals, such as scientific studies are pointing towards evidence that the lunar cycle actually has an effect on the reproductive successes of fishes, both saltwater and freshwater. And even if you take into account the moonlight itself, just the illumination of the moon, such as predator-prey reactions. You can think in a full moon, you have a lot more light. You've got a lot more illuminations. So what does that mean for these predators? Well, it's going to make the prey a lot harder to hide from these predators, and it's going to make them easier to be spotted. So again, these are some of those changes, those effects that the lunar cycle has on the environment and the animals around us. So now let's take a look at what the solunar theory states about fishing. Remember, the solunar theory states that it is those days and times of increased fishing activity. That's the whole point and purpose of it. So you have what is known as a solunar period, and that's pretty much a lunar day. Okay, now within this period you have 2 portions of it, which are your major periods and your minor periods. And you have 2 major periods per lunar day and 2 minor periods per lunar day. Now a major period, this is at the point where the moon is overhead. Remember when we talked about that meridian line? The moon is overhead and the moon is underfoot. So those are the times of day when you're going to have those major time periods. And you have the minor time periods when the moon is rising and when the moon is setting. Okay, so those major times, these are going to be the times of the greatest fishing activity. And supporters of the solunar theory state that there is no sports fish that cannot be caught during this time. Again, remember, not my words. These are many words that I found whenever I was researching this myself, that many fishermen believe that these are the best times to fish. And you have an even increased chance of catching them during the new moon and the full moon. So during a major period in the new moon and the full moon, those are going to be your greatest increased fishing activity that you're going to find. And then again, during those minor periods, you're going to have a little increase in activity as well throughout compared to the rest of the day. So you may be wondering a little bit, okay, well, why are these major periods better in some instances, especially on the new moon or the full moon? Well, if you think about the full moon, again, this comes into play with those predator-prey relationships and the illumination of the moon. Again, bass, this is a predator fish. This is a predatory fish. So it's going to see a lot better on these full moons, and it's going to have a lot more feeding activity. So if you just simply think about it like that, about that increased activity that you can see, that you can do things, it's the same way for animals. So they're seeing they can feed more. And that's why even, I know Jim even states that he knows that if there's been a full moon the night before, he won't go fishing early in the morning because he knows that they've probably been feeding all night with that full moon, or at moments during the night they're going to feed a lot, and then they're not going to be as hungry early in the morning. So they're going to be waiting a little bit longer to feed again. So there again is those plays that illumination itself, not just those gravitational forces, but the illumination factor that plays into the feeding of the fish. So you always have to keep that in mind, as well as when it plays into the lunar cycles. So now you guys may be wondering, okay, when do I know when these major and minor periods are, or even what phase is the moon in for me? There are many apps that you can look up for the Solunar calendar or the Solunar theory. You can even Google Solunar timetables or calendars. But Deeper does have one, and best of all, it's free, and you don't have to have a Deeper to use it. But this is an image of their Solunar calendar, and as you can see, you're probably wondering, what are these dots? Well, the dots are, you have 1 dot for average days, 2 dots, these are going to be your good days, 3 dots, your better days, and 4 dots, these are going to be your best days. So these are going to be those days of the most increased chance of catching those fish. Now, you can click on the day and you can go in there and you can see the periods for yourself. As you can see here for the 12th, so today, you've got these moments of major and minor periods. And this major period, you can see, kind of begins around 1 o'clock in the morning, and then it happens again around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And you can see how that kind of coincides with the following that meridian line. Remember that moon overhead and moon underfoot, those moments of those increased fishing activities, those major periods during the day. And then you've got your minor periods that again coincide with each other there in that moon setting and that moon rise. Those are your minor periods. And then you can see the phase of the moon, and here this looks like a waning gibbous moon. So it's going and moving down. We just had our full moon the other day, so we're going down towards our 3rd quarter moon. What is also great about just the Deeper app itself is it also has the weather. So here it's going to tell you when your moon rises, your moon set, it's going to tell you your sunrise, your sunset, and it's going to give you your weather forecast as well. So that's just an added bonus with their app, that you not only have that Solunar calendar, but you also can check your weather as well if you don't have the Deeper and aren't using the Sonar technology with it. you can utilize these great features of it. So guys, I hope this answered some of your questions. I know I didn't get too scientific with this video. I really just wanted to keep it pretty narrow. If you have some things to add to this, please comment, leave that in the comments below. Or if you have any additional questions where you're still kind of confused about some things, leave that in the comments below and I'll try and get back to you and answer any questions that you may have. So thanks for watching, guys. And for the next video, I'm going to get into the trophic status and really just deal and focus on freshwater ecology and just really start talking about the different types of bodies of water, the trophic status, get into species with those different trophic status and things like that. So do keep a lookout for those videos. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. If so, please give me a thumbs up and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.